Which movie is genuinely traumatic?
Lorenzo's oil, link.
Fun fact. Not really fun, that disease runs in my mother's side of the family. I had 2 cousins die from it in their 20s. One of them took Lorenzo's oil, it extended his life a few years, but ultimately he lost that battle. Also, I was an extra in that movie.
Wow, on several levels. Very sorry for the cousins you lost. Glad Lorenzo's oil gave one of them more time. It must have been something to have been an extra in that film.
So yeah, I'm sitting here making a to-watch list. I'll regret this later.
When the Wind Blows, from 1986. For anyone who doesn't know it, here's a short summary from Wiki. The film accounts a rural English couple's attempt to survive a nearby nuclear attack and maintain a sense of normality in the subsequent fallout and nuclear winter. Just thinking about this movie gives me chills, and not in a good way. Probably one of, if not, the most disturbing movies I've ever watched. I felt sick for days.
I found this movie because Roger Waters of Pink Floyd did the score. Tough to watch.
I'm convinced that the all-glass shower trend is from a generation of home builders who saw the shower scene in Psycho as kids.
Growing up, my mother was traumatized of that movie to the point she had trouble taking showers and would only take a bath. One day while home alone, she had to shower to rush over somewhere. While in the shower, a large picture frame fell and hit the light switch on the way down, crashing to the floor. She said she screamed for a few minutes, sat there panicking, then got up and looked and realized what had happened. To my knowledge, she has not taken a shower since and probably never will.
Watership Down.
My mum took me to watch this at the cinema when I was about 7, thinking it was some cutesy animation about bunnies. She promptly fell asleep and I'm still traumatized from it, never been able to watch it again.
The Good Son messed me up when I was a kid. The movie itself probably isn't, but when I was a kid and saw the wire scene from Ghost Ship, I was pretty traumatized.
Possibly the best ever opening scene of a genuinely dumb movie. I honestly remember virtually nothing else about the movie. Kids.
I have no legs, I have no legs.
Don't know the name of it, but there's a short foreign film where some boys were playing out in the middle of nowhere and one of them gets stuck in some deep mud, quicksand. He goes into it for some reason I forget and of course gets stuck, which they laugh about. He tries wiggling himself out but keeps sinking further. The friend goes for help but cannot find anyone and begins getting frantic. They cut back to show the stuck boy is now sunk up to his neck. Cut scene back and forth from each boy, one looking for help and the other stuck, each time showing the boy sinking deeper and becoming more terrified. The friend finally waves down a passing car and takes her back to the spot his friend was, but there is nothing but the big mud hole. She drives him back home and he is silent, staring out the window the whole way. End film. Edit. My memory is skewed as it's been a while since I've seen it, so I told it a bit wrong, but the premise is there. Boys playing a dangerous game and nature has the last laugh. It's a Sundance Film Festival short film called Fauve. Link.
Jacob's Ladder.
Threads. Want to know what a nuclear war would look like for the average citizen? Edit. This blew up. Thanks for the awards and upvotes. Anyone interested in seeing it can watch it on YouTube currently. Definitely for mature audiences, though.
This is the most terrifying movie I have ever seen. It refuses to turn away from the parts of nuclear war that every other movie glosses over. Absolutely, compellingly awful to contemplate.
Fire in the Sky. With the exception of the first and last 10 minutes, it's incredibly boring and mundane. Basically a drama about a murder investigation in rural northern Az. Then it ends as a proper sci-fi horror with a dude strapped to an exam table on an alien craft being aggressively examined by some ugly-ass humanoid aliens while his screams are muffled by some kind of giant full-body alien condom. My 9-year-old ass didn't sleep well for years after seeing that.
I was traumatized by the ending of The Mist. I had previously read the short story in one of the Stephen King anthologies, I forget which one, so I was not prepared for the ending they went for in the movie. Spoiler. It's not the same.
Probably the worst part of the ending was the fact there is no music over the credits. Just ambient noise to let you sit there and truly take in what the F just happened.
Grave of the Fireflies. It's the story of every war.
Everything about this movie is a true work of art. The story, metaphors with the candy, the brutal, absolutely horrifying ending. Even the poster for the film is traumatic. If you lighten it up, you see that the fireflies aren't actually fireflies, but firebombs being dropped by planes in the middle of the night. Trainspotting. Saw it once, and I'll never forget it.
The Baby.
The Road. Book was even crazier.
Come and See. Literally no other movie compares to the trauma one feels upon finishing a viewing of it.
Saw this recently, I was in tears bawling by the end of the barn scene. That movie does such a great job of combining fear, hopelessness, surrealism, historical accuracy and all too real horror. It traumatized me for a few days after seeing it. Also the part when they're leaving the village and he doesn't look back, which if he did he'd see the massive pile of civilian corpses stacked on the edge of town, including his mother and sisters. Terrifying, bleak and gut-wrenching all around. Interesting bit of trivia, in the Soviet Union, they had some very different rules on filmmaking, apparently. Take the scene where he is hiding behind a dying cow as the Nazis rake the field with machine gun fire. Those were real MG-42s shooting real bullets over his head, and that dying cow was actually shot and dying in front of him. If anything, this movie was probably most traumatic to the poor child playing the main role.
A Monster Calls. A little boy manifesting his fear of losing his dying mum in the form of a psychologist oak tree. Yes, you read that right. Honestly broke me watching that film. I've never been able to watch it since. Edit. Just to please all the pedantic people out there, it's not an oak tree. It's a yew tree.
I watched Event Horizon as a 15-year-old who had been left alone for the weekend for the first time at about 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. That was over 20 years ago and I'm still not really over it.
I once mentioned Event Horizon to a coworker offhand and they took that as a recommendation. They didn't talk to me much after that.
Pan's Labyrinth. Not necessarily the fantasy part of it, but the main antagonist, Vidal, and the ending. Just horrific. I cry every time. Also, for context, the scene with the pale man even scared Stephen freaking King, the reigning king of literary horror. It's a fantastic and beautiful film, but it's not for the faint of heart. Notable scenes. Wine bottle, more scenes with blood and pain than you should shake a butcher knife at. The face cut, as in a cheek sliced open and you can see the blood and flesh vividly. DIY face stitches for the face cut. The pale man. The ending. Vidal's weird obsession with having a son, and Vidal just being the devil incarnate for the entirety of the film.
Bridge to Terabithia.
More like Bridge to Tear My Effing Heart Out.
American History X.
Watched the original IT when I was like 8 or 9. Made me genuinely afraid of toilets and storm drains for like a year.
A friend taunted me with The Exorcist when I was 12. I was so terrified. What she didn't know was, when I was 7, I had misbehaved at a fundamentalist Bible camp and was told I was possessed. That became a full-fledged phobia that led to other disorders and I needed tons of therapy. So yeah, that movie. Edit. Thank you for the award and for all the updates, not to mention the very supportive comments. It all means a lot.
I think we can agree that watching Arachnophobia as kids truly messed us up.
As a kid, The Ring. I told my friend scary movies didn't affect me, but I couldn't sleep properly for weeks. As an adult, Midsommar. I did not consent to seeing half that poo. Ended up fighting with my partner after the movie was over. BCI was just so on edge. Edit. Ah poo, my first gold. Thank you. Dear Zachary? Irreversible and Requiem for a Dream. Felt like an injury.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.